Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned. Albino ranks every boss in the critically acclaimed, universally lauded, and globally adored Balan Wonderworld, from easiest to hardest. After releasing a perfect demo everyone loved, I was motivated by pure appreciation to buy this game at full price on launch and play the entire thing with a never-ending smile on my face, and boy did I have a good time all the way through with no gripes. War ranking all 13 bosses in the main story. If there are any secret bosses I'm not aware of them, so too bad. All footage is taken from my first attempts at each boss, so you get to see the learning process in action. And oh man, was it fun to bash my head against the wall with some of these. Let's get started. Number 13, Big Wolf. I don't know if these dudes have actual names, so I'll be winging it. Big Wolf is the first boss you'll encounter and is appropriately brain-dead easy. Some of the ways you do damage to these bosses defies all logic, though. My first hit on this guy, I jump under him while he's jumping over me, and he just gets hit. I should be a flat wolf rug right now in my yiffing costume, but I'm persevering. The next hit comes from using my little piggy costume to pound a thick iron pillar up the big bad wolf's ass. Now that's some sweet revenge for all the property damage he's been causing me, and the final hit is just from reflecting a tornado back at him. After defeating the wolf, our 10-year-old self and this adult farmer lock eyes with romantic passion, and we slowly run towards each other to hella make out. But first we have to have a group dance number with a bunch of anthropomorphic wolves in a scene straight out of a furry theater kid's wet dream. Before you ask, yes, every boss ends this way. Number 12, Big BaCAWK. In the magical world of avian flu, we must restore the soul of some random tree hugger by defeating a giant whatever kind of bird wearing an adult diaper. By this point, I haven't yet learned that it's not good to bring other costumes into a boss fight because they aren't designed to deal with what's happening, but we'll figure it out eventually. The dreadlock bird is used to launch tornadoes at the birdhouse at the end of Big BaCAWK's tongue, which will open him up to get air tackled, and the chameleon costume is available too, so you can have the ability to not jump. That's fun. I really like being a costume that can't jump in a game where all 4 face buttons and 2 shoulder buttons on the controller are mapped to the exact same action. I mean, obviously it would be super OP if a character that did one other thing could also jump. That's a kind of flexibility I've never heard of in a platformer. In many ways, Balan Wonderworld is like the first platformer ever made, which is cool. The way it pretends the last 30 years of gaming evolution never happened. What a blast from the past! Jamaican Bird can also reflect a tornado for a second way to deal damage, and I assume the chameleon serves some kind of purpose, but I never found it. After defeating the BaCAWK, our 10-year-old self and this chick with humongous hands lock eyes with romantic passion, and we slowly run towards each other to hella make out. But first we have to have a group dance number with a bunch of tree creatures who can still somehow dance on platforms that are turning diagonally and upside down in a scene straight out of a Birdwatchers fanfiction. Number 11, Fatty Fish. Freddy Fish's morbidly obese cousin, Fatty Fish is a dancer of epic portions and proportions who likes to wiggle that thang while she summons super delayed poison pools for a second. The electric jellyfish costume can knock back the little beach balls she throws at you, and while I assume the dolphin can go in the falling water and jump up to her head or something, it's such a dubious looking setup that I floundered it, fish pun, and then didn't get another chance. There's a few attacks in these bosses where they expect you to literally jump off the stage and risk falling to your death to try and land on some kind of weak point, but it's rarely obvious when that's supposed to happen. Like, I don't see a weak point on this blob, I just hit the beach balls at it and they go wherever they go, man. After defeating Fatty Fish, our 10-year-old self and a teenage diver whose sister drowned lock eyes with romantic passion, and we slowly run towards each other to hella make out. But first we have to have a group dance number with a bunch of seaweed-tangled bottom dwellers in a scene straight out of a pirate's scurvy nightmare. Number 10, Grandmaster. The name is ironic, this guy's at 200 elo. The Minotaur tackle is used to deflect the cannon shots, provided you can aim properly. Turns out if you mash X, you'll just keep tackling in the same direction, even if you're holding in another one. That's just good game design. The developers recognize that you probably want to stick to your guns and ignore your left thumb's movements entirely in case it decided to betray you. Now that's the kind of 4D chess that suits this boss fight. After watching this footage back, I think that when the platforms get raised, you're supposed to jump all the way out and hit the little guy guy's face sticking out above the fists. That's a hell of a commitment with not a lot of time to make it. Like, you'll straight up fall if you miss or if you don't get there in time. Tackling the king piece during the chess segment is the final way to land a blow, and my personal favorite because you're like, checkmate, even though it's not checkmate because you have to hit him one more time, and also that's not what checkmate is. After defeating the Grandmaster, our 10-year-old self and a washed-up chess loser has been lock eyes with romantic passion, and we slowly run towards each other to hella make out. But first we have to have a group dance number with a bunch of out-of-place animals where only one of the costumes is actually affiliated with chess in any way, in a scene straight out of a Bates family reunion. Number 9, Delta Airlines. This biplane likes boys and girls. Its opening gambit rocket attack can be jumped at to land the first blow. When it releases the air vents, use the sheep costume to float all the way up there and kick it in the nose, which in this case will do absolutely nothing. I don't get it. It's shiny and everything. I landed right on that bitch, and he just flicked me away like a booger. Another fun thing that doesn't work is when you release the balloons while using the homing attack bat and start hitting them, assumedly to gain enough height that the nose becomes a target, but that also just didn't happen. This boss broken, but not difficult. Just do the rocket thing every time. It's actually smart of the developers to put in mechanics that don't work, because it makes you appreciate the one thing that does even more. This game should be getting 10s across the board. It's 3 days after launch, and at the time of writing, Metacritic doesn't have a single critic score yet. Balan Wonderworld, a game so good nobody wants to review it. After defeating Delta, our 10-year-old self and a nerdy kid who didn't get the memo that we invented planes already lock eyes with romantic passion, and we slowly run towards each other to hella make out. But first we have to have a group dance number with some robots and a French horn section in a scene straight out of a futuristic band kid's autobiography. Number 8, Big Bug. Why are we trying to save the girl who likes bugs? That loneliness is earned. See a stalactite come down? Hit it. See a ball thing get thrown at you? Hit that too. Can be a bit annoying to do with the Mantis costume since it only shoots in a diagonal curve and another tremendous design choice, but as long as you're the spider costume when the webs come out, you're fine. The Big Bug will generally launch one of its sides afterwards and then just watch it spin around the arena for way too long while I get confused about whether I'm supposed to be doing something here. But none of these bosses are hard yet. After defeating the Big Bug, our 10-year-old self and an isolated, disgusting bug lover lock eyes with romantic passion, and we slowly run towards each other to hella make out. But first, we have to have a group dance number with some assorted forest floor horrors and a girl who would definitely know how to dance for no reason in the life she leads. I might have a butterfly fetish, but at least I was trained on Broadway in a scene straight out of a bug-catching Pokemon trainer's idea journal. Number 7, Big Kitty. Evil Dead Kitten alert, this fight is made extra annoying by the fact that I'm trying to protect an air cat costume, aka one of the most useful and valuable ones because it can airwalk for a solid distance and reach a ton of collectibles, but I'm also switching between a costume that can't jump that needs to jump and the time cat so I don't get frozen in place for 15 seconds when the boss activates its time voodoo. Now future me would say that I should just move the air cat costume to the far right of my quick select and pick up a duplicate of one of these other ones so it gets sent safely to storage, because isn't it so genius of developers to inspire such crafty solutions to problems that shouldn't exist in the first place? It's like they thought of everything. Having your lost costumes get sent to storage instead of being gone forever would just be inconvenient, after all. The game knows you want to spend as much time in its world as possible going back through entire old levels to reacquire lost costumes, and they've been generous enough to give you that opportunity every single time it happens. You can even sit in front of the costume spawn and wait for it to come back every 45 seconds along with the key so you can stack costumes to your heart's content. Isn't it so efficient to do that with every important costume and spend most of the time not playing the game? I think so. Oh yeah, Big Kitty. Punch its fists with the jack-o'-lantern and also punch the stoplights it jumps on if it stays there for a while. Your guess is as good as mine what the third one is. After defeating Big Kitty, our 10-year-old self and a little girl whose cat got run over lock eyes, and we slowly run towards each other to hella hold hands, you freaks. She's a little girl, we're the grown-up in that situation, we have a responsibility. But first we have to have a group dance number with a bunch of alive cats in a scene straight out of a depressed little girl's imagining of an alternate reality where her cat didn't get run over. Number 6, Big Davinci. Hated the stage as soon as I walked into it. It's all swirly and you have to keep moving forward. Luckily, your main costume is one of the best at fighting monsters. The paintball one, this thing can clear hordes of enemies or just snipe a boss's weak point from a mile away. Start by kicking the shiny paint can at Davinci's head so you can expose his crotch, which is located on his head, and turn it into a masterpiece. After that, you'll need the X-ray ape, which looks nothing like an ape. It's clearly a mouse, but whatevs, bruh. But you'll just need that costume to reveal invisible floors to jump on so you can catch up fast enough to dump some more paint on that rock-hard thing. Step 3 is to kick the can again. Very straightforward boss, but dodging stuff can be a challenge. After defeating Big Davinci, our 10-year-old self, and a bulbous artist who looks like the human version of Fatty Fish lock eyes with romantic passion, and we slowly run towards each other to hella make out. But first we have to have a group dance number where the platform we stand on somehow doesn't crack with every step this Incredible Hulk takes in a scene straight out of a body-positive magazine. Number 5, Dark Elsa. This Ice Queen is cold, and possibly a witch doctor of some kind. This fight can actually mess you up the first time because if you don't know they're coming, her rotating crystals can send you into a pit of despair, especially if you have an ice fairy you're trying to protect, which is literally a better version of an air cat because you also go up like it's stairs, and so you're scrambling to find keys and costumes to send it to storage, but oops, this attack lasts forever and I don't have time to pick stuff up in between, and there goes the best costume I've gotten all game up to this point. Maybe one day will be reunited. The costumes this arena does give you are of the painfully slow and can't jump variety, which makes things even harder, especially when there's an opening that requires you to jump once the snowflake platforms come out. Otherwise, you'll wait for him to use the poison that's usually protecting his body to get sent elsewhere, and then you can run up and crack his base, which will send his weak spot out, and you can hammer that too. I just did that 3 times. I don't know what else to do with these horrendous outfits. After defeating Dark Elsa, our 10-year-old self and the best waifu of Balan Wonderworld, whose parents died and ruined her marriage, lock eyes with romantic passion, and we slowly run towards each other to hella make out. But first, we have to have a group dance number with a bunch of hulking ice beasts who can't even jump, so how can they dance? In a scene straight out of the musical adaptation of the Chronicles of Narnia. Number 4, Plugman. Oh man, I hate this one. This took me the longest to figure out, and I managed to find 2 ways to do damage, but one of them is super unreliable. After yet another instance of me losing an air cat, so I was in a great mood, I discovered that you have to hide behind the Tesla coil he plunges down onto the field and wait for him to launch a floor-destroying giant crate at it, which you are also sometimes not fast enough to dodge, and so you will also sometimes fall to your immediate demise, which will cancel the window of opportunity you'd otherwise get when the Tesla coil gets launched at him. Another thing you can do is suck up one of the bombs as the vacuum cleaner, and then when the boss starts sucking up the floor, launch the bomb at him, which will make his weak spot sometimes land completely out of reach on the other side of a gap you can't jump. Isn't that nifty? It's like the devs dangling a carrot on a stick in front of you and then yanking it away to motivate you to try harder. I love when a game makes me slam my fist on my desk out of determination. Yeah, that's it, determination. After defeating Plugman, our 10-year-old self and an octogenarian who's obsessed with trash because he feels a kinship with it lock eyes with romantic passion, and we slowly run towards each other to hella make out. But first we have to have a group dance number where every step has an added pop sound effect as this dude's bones start snapping and cracking like Rice Krispies in a scene straight out of an Alzheimer's patient's waking delusion. Number 3, Evil Balan. Oh my god, the first boss that lets you pick your costumes before you started, unbelievable. This first stage of Evil Balan has you facing off against some small groups of enemies meant to distract you from Evil Balan's vulnerability periods. When he whips his tentacle back and forth, and he shows up next to it, just shoot something at him and he'll be like, "Nani?" or something stereotypical. From there, he'll split into 5 clones and start launching himself at you, and if you jump at or tackle or otherwise harm the one that has the white face, he'll get wrecked from that too. But now the real transformation begins, his final form. When he starts charging up his 5-eyed laser attack, do anything you want because, oh no, you died, you suck. How come you couldn't dodge that? But it's okay, even though you're incompetent, at least you have the spirits of all these nameless people you've helped by accident over the course of the whole game who have done nothing but stare at you and dance. You've got them on your side, loaning you their corresponding costumes, now you're unstoppable. And the final form encounter turns into a real fight. Each eye corresponds with a different attack pattern that if you find the weakness will destroy that eye. With the hand cannon part, just dodge the black blobs until one of them has a mask on. Then you run into that one because he's being safe and can't hurt you. Good for him, so responsible. Who knows what kinds of diseases I'm carrying having dance parties with all these other people. When the glass floor shatters in parts, find the water pool about to come down and switch to the dolphin. Then travel through the jet stream and jump all the way out there and land on one of the eyes. Very big commitment, but at least it happens at like 0.25x speed, so you can't miss unless you hesitate for half an hour. Then he'll try to do the eye laser again, but since there's only one eye left, it sucks, and he's bad now. It literally tuckers him out, and he falls down like an idiot. Time to deal that final blow and have one final group dance number with everyone you've ever met like a flash mob at a strip mall. This would have served the video a lot better if this was the hardest boss, but it's not. So let's get to the last two bosses and pretend we didn't break continuity on all these running jokes you're tired of. I'm sick of it too, but once you do something twice, you gotta do it 12 times. It's a rule of comedy. I'm bound by the contract. Number 2, Carnival Nightmare. I just don't know where the openings are. I only know the one where you jump at the cannonballs, and this dude spends so much time doing stuff that isn't that. The stage is a triple conveyor belt, and if it's going the wrong way while the Carnival Nightmare is bouncing around and shatting out its humongous poison pools, you're in trouble. There's also a section where you have to maneuver underneath an entire carousel of giant death horses, which is pretty difficult if you haven't practiced it. I just hug the outside ring and worry about running under one horse at a time. But yeah, I don't know what else to do here. After defeating Carnival Nightmare, our 10-year-old self and a plain-ass jester who was trying to fight way above his weight class with the girl he wants to ask out lock eyes with romantic passion, and we slowly run towards each other to hella make out. But first we have to have a group dance number with some ghosts and panda droids in a scene straight out of a Star Wars movie releasing on Halloween. Number 1, Fire Hydra. The hardest boss in Balan Wonderworld is the Fire Hydra, which is a play on a fire hydrant, in case you didn't graduate middle school, which, by the way, is a prerequisite to thinking this is a good game. Oh no, the illusion, it crumbled! I hate this boss because it makes you use one of my least favorite costumes in the whole game, the Fire Hydrant, which has a pointless ability in regular levels and takes about an eon to charge up its stupid water blast. The other costume is the Key Mouse, which is a Yu-Gi-Oh card, but instead of helping me synchro summon a Thunder Unicorn to electrify the hell out of this thing, it just lets me unlock more copies of the Fire Hydrant costume for free. Wow, thanks so much. 2 horrendous costumes in the hardest fight in the game. The Fire Hydra has this spinning flamethrower attack that's like uncharacteristically hard to dodge. The flames turn off for a split second each time, and you're expected to make the leap to the other side in that tiny window every time as you follow the spinning. Otherwise, the only way I found to do damage to this boss is to wait until his nozzles are making the lava pool get bigger, and then charge up 4 water shots to plug each one and stun him. It takes about 2 full seconds to actually shoot a blast far enough, and if you're even a frame too early, it just won't go off. Other costumes can shoot that far with 0 charge time, but sure, make this one garbage for no reason. If this costume walked down the street, the old dude from Chapter 12 would get mad at it for littering, pick it up with his tongs, and shove it to the bottom of a wastebasket. After defeating the Fire Hydra, our 10-year-old self and a firefighter who left a kid in a burning building lock eyes with romantic passion, and we slowly run towards each other to hella make out. But first we have to have a group dance number with a bunch of fire hydrants and spicy hedgehogs so this dude can gain the confidence required to not let children burn to death in a scene straight out of Chicago Fire, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Pacific on NBC. Well, that's gonna do it for this boss ranking. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and especially subscribe. 60% of the people who watch my videos are currently unsubscribed, which makes sense if you only like the one thing that I don't do very often, but still, show support for that one thing. Subscribe. Make YouTube recommend my videos more. Follow me on Twitter at Sunburned Albino. Check out my other rankings on things or my channel in general, and I'll see you guys next time.